Hey guys, Recruiter Preston here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, just want to talk about another story of a placement that my team and I recently made, and it was really one for the books, and I thought it would be worthy to kind of share with you exactly what happened. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Preston. I run my own agency, been a technical recruiter for almost about a decade. We are a trusted recruitment partner to some of the most well-known companies and brands out there. So if you're looking to hire or you're looking for your next dream job, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you and see how we can help. We were approached by a fast-growing, profitable advertising media tech company based out of the West Coast who was looking for a very hard to fill kind of role that was basically driving them crazy. They used multiple other recruiters. They also have an internal team, and lo and behold, they came to us to get the job done. What was really cool was that this was a financial role, and we don't really specialize in finance, but I've done all the positions underneath the sun. And for someone like myself who's been in recruiting, technical recruiting for so long, I also just enjoy doing positions that we also have interest or knowledge in as well, and finance happens to be one of them. I always have some small allocation of our team's bandwidth, and including mine, to help with fun roles like these. We know finance really well. We've done a lot of finance placements over the years, and outside of our specialty, it's definitely something that was within our wheelhouse. If it wasn't, I would have just basically shared with them that this is not something that we do and walk away. But always up for a challenge. But yeah, they approached us. You know, we were able to do the intake call, pick up the role really well, and get it started. What really made this challenging was that they wanted someone who was based on the West Coast, based out of the local market, someone who was also open to going into the office, which is like a very touchy, sensitive topic for a lot of people, as many people don't want to go in the office anymore, especially the finance folks. They just want to go fully remote or have the occasional travel back to the office. So with that said, they were able to still pay pretty competitively. The range was, I think, 140 to 160 with benefits, equity, tons of room for growth, bonus based on performance, all of that TBD. But the company was going through a hockey stick growth, and it was certainly a very exciting time to join. Now, we got the search started. I believe we were able to send someone within the first week. He really, in my opinion, had everything. The first guy, right? He was, I think, what I would call a unicorn. And that's what we all strive to do in recruiting. The first candidate to be not only perfect, but like super perfect. Unicorn level perfect. They don't exist, but only one of them in the entire world, and we found him. He went in there and absolutely crushed it. Now, if you're like, okay, Preston, what's the point of this video? It's over, you hired him, great. Not quite. He checked off all the boxes so well that the company, even after the first interview, wanted to see more candidates, which is completely normal, right? You never want to marry the first person you dated. You never want to hire the first person that you see, even though if that person is a unicorn. Is the grass greener on the other side? Look over that fence. What's over here? What's over there? The company, had the position open for quite some time, but with our engagement, they found a unicorn. But the downside of doing your job too well is that they're like, wow, if you're able to find one unicorn, possibly you could find maybe 5 or 10 more unicorns. So they keep asking us to keep the search on and keep it going, when we thought this is going to be a one and done. The can's going to be invited for a second or third round and then crush those and ultimately get an offer, and then the rest is history. But they actually asked us to keep the search going, which is really frustrating. But at the same time, I try my best to be empathetic, and I'm like, yeah, if I was a CEO, and even though I found like an amazing candidate, I still want some time to go through where we can at least talk to maybe 2 to 5 other people, just to make sure that we're making the right decision. Did you just start your own recruitment agency and are struggling getting your own clients? Are you thinking about starting your own agency but afraid to make the jump? Do you have your own clients but you're struggling to find the perfect candidates fast? Do you have a full-time job and wanted to do recruitment part-time to make more money on the side and have no idea how to? If you answered yes to any of these questions, please consider joining our private community. It is a trust-based community where recruiters around the world can support, collaborate, and work together on placements all around the year consistently. In this community, you will directly have access to the real open jobs of my team and of our members, and you will also have the chance to access trainings, events, giveaways, and much more. If you are part of this community, I communicate and work with you as if you were on my own team, and I'll do whatever I can to do a placement together with your client or candidate. So if you're struggling to get your own clients or candidates and you want a way you can make sure you can be busy all year round by having access to many more open roles, then this is something you need to look into. This is open to people around the world and is open for recruiters in every industry and experience levels, as we will always have a good number of variety of open jobs across sectors, markets, and industries. I'm really happy to say that within the first 30 days, we have already have a new member with minimal recruiting experience do his first placement that had a total fee of almost $30,000 US, and we are working working hard to do many, many more this year. If you are interested and excited, there are only a limited number of spots open, so make sure you sign up quick at patreon.com/recruiterpreston. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Discord. We can set up a time to chat. See you on the other side. We weren't able to find another unicorn. We were able to send a couple more follow-ups, I think the week or two. As more and more time has gone on, and even though we were finding some decent people, I was also thinking about our first guy, and the further the time goes, right, the more that candidate could progress further in other rounds or processes with other companies, their interest level might just go down, or they're just like, you know what, this is taking forever, I'm just no longer interested, and they're just gonna ultimately take themselves out of the market, which is scenarios that we don't want to happen. So what's really, really important is that if you send a candidate that's really good the first time, you wanna be able to keep regularly checking in and follow up with them, right? That's all we could do. At the same time, me and my team are doing the best to find other unicorns, which we know they just don't exist, right? So we did our best to kind of find other people. I think for the next 1 to 2 weeks, we were able to probably send about 5 or 6 more. I would say 4, 5 of them went through interview rounds. Some of them went further. And then we're talking about, by this time, it's like 2 or 2.5 weeks after the first guy interviewed. In the second cohort, it turned out that it seemed like there was a chance that one of the guys might actually be the guy. He went through a second round, he went through a third round, he went through a final, and then they rejected it for their own reasons. And so we had a lot of other people that are kind of moving through processes. It seemed like the company wasn't that excited. And I kept following up with the client, like, hey, what about the first guy? What about the first guy? After the last interview with the first guy, they're like, you know what, let's talk to other people. After another week goes by, they're like, you know what, just follow up with us again. Let's just see other people. All of this, as it kept going, really concerned us because we also know that they were using other recruiting firms, other agencies, other tools, and they also had their internal TA team. And I'm like, man, the longer that this goes, the higher the chance you're gonna find somebody else through their own network, through their own relationships, through other tools, even though my guy was the perfect guy. So we had to do, honestly, our best of keeping our candidate warm, but the candidate would also follow up with us saying, hey, what's the deal? Like, did you hear anything? And I'm like, nope, we're still waiting. And trying to find other people that could hopefully be as exciting or more exciting than the first guy, all while at the same time trying to find really good opportunities to remind the client, what about our first guy? And so after 2.5 weeks, we thought we had a guy. He made it to the final, didn't work out. A couple other people were simmering in the second, third round, and it just seemed to kind of have staled a little bit, right? Then the client, hiring manager, decided to travel for a week. So a whole week went by when everything literally just stopped. He came back the following week. We restarted a couple of interviews. None of those panned out. He was slow to respond. And I'm like, oh my God, we went from finding a unicorn to almost feels like going down a path where we're just gonna lose this client. It's just gonna simmer out and nothing's gonna happen. And the company got busy. The candidates that were in the processes, all of them either pulled out, they got other offers, or they weren't interested. And then another week goes by where I'm like, me and my team are like, you know what, this is it. It's over. We still have nothing to share with our candidate. And by this time, I'm surprised that the candidate would even remember interviewing our unicorn candidate with our client. So much time has gone by, came all the way down where almost about a month has gone by where they interviewed a couple more from us. And I know they interviewed from other agencies, other teams. And then all of a sudden, I got this random email from the hiring manager saying, hey, is your candidate number 1 still available? I'm like, are you kidding me? After a whole month, after weeks and weeks of him just not responding to my question. So what I had to do then is to resync up with my first candidate, pray that he was still open on the market, let alone still interested, or he was just really pissed off and annoyed and just he had it with this whole experience with my client. I just hope that at least 1% of him was still open-minded to pursue this opportunity. So I was able to connect with them. We were able to chat it out. I was able to do damage control and apologize from the client's point of view, but at the same time use it as an opportunity to re-engage him, remind him why he was excited, to pitch him all over again. That seemed to have been the trick, where he still had an open mind. Even more so now, he reached out back to hiring manager, they reconnected, had an amazing first re-engagement chat, followed by another phone call that they set up between themselves. I'm kind of learning about this after the fact because neither of them let me know. And then the following day, the hiring manager ended up verbally extending an offer to my candidate. One thing that I forgot to mention is that the original salary band was 140, 160. When I talked to my candidate, he was making around 170, 175. He's like, if I stayed, got a promotion, I'll be at 180. If I were to get a new job, ideally I want to do that, 180 or higher. But then he was so excited about my client, he was willing to be flexible to 160 because there's equity, there's bonus, and all of that. He did transparently share in that final discussions with the hiring manager. He's like, hey, I know your salary band is X, Y, and Z, but I'm kind of at 175 right now. I'm looking for 180 or higher, at least 190. Is there anything you could do? And I prop him for asking. If you don't ask, you'll never get, you'll never know. So he went to go to bat for himself, which is great. It's usually something that we do for our candidates. And the hiring manager came back the next day saying, hey, how about this? Why don't we do, instead of 160, we did some number crunching, and why don't we do 180 plus benefits plus bonus? And I'm like, oh my God, they came out $20,000 higher than 160. This is a done deal. We're back in the game. This is gonna happen. And then my candidate texts me saying, this is great news. I'm still excited, but do you think there's any more room to negotiate? So I'm like, what's going on here? I was able to resync up with my candidate, got him on the phone, and really, when a candidate asks you that after a first round of successful negotiations, we have to kind of understand, like, what is like the motivation? Like, where is this coming from? Do they just want to maximize dollar signs, which I totally get? Do they think it's still under low paid? Were they not transparent with what they share with me, their ideal numbers were, and where they are currently at? Like, all of these questions. I was able to sync up back with him again. We were able to talk it through, and he's like, you know what? 190 is really my number. When you reached out to me, Preston, I was not actively looking. I'm still not actively looking. I'm actually quite happy at my current job. It is with a bigger company. I totally get that. This newer company is small, but growing very fast. And they obviously have money. They're extremely profitable. They came up 20K. Is it too wrong for me to just ask them 190? I'm like, you know what? Go for the moon. As long as you have like a legitimate backup and data to support it, go for the moon. If you were to go back and saying, I want $500,000, they'd be like, screw you and walk away. But if it's like, hey, I appreciate the 180, I'm looking for 190, here's why, here's my case study number 1, 2, and 3, then you're just shooting your shot. Go for it. At that point, I asked them, hey, are you comfortable with us doing that, or do you want to do it yourself? And he's like, you know what? I got this. Let me just do it on myself. I'm like, that's totally cool. You got this. That's exactly what he did. He went back to the hiring manager and he's like, you know what? I appreciate the 180, but to really get me to sign, seal, and deliver, I really need 190. Then the hiring manager's like, okay, not sure what we can do. Let me talk to CEO and get back to you. A day goes by, nothing. 2 days go by, we hear back nothing. And me and Ken starts to get worried. We're like, hey, did we ruin it? Did we, pull our shot? Did we come in too aggressive? I'm like, you know what? Let's just play it cool. Let's see what happens. The next day comes and goes. And again, the hiring manager reached out to like the candidate directly without even asking me. That's totally cool. And I found out after the fact that they were able to come up to 190, $30,000 higher than the original salary band. And the candidate accepted on the spot, which was insane to me. It just goes to show that sometimes when you are a recruitment, you want to go after the best candidates, but sometimes if you make it seem too easy, your clients might ask you for more unicorns, and that's just the name of the game. I'd rather that happens because we're good at our jobs than sending them 20 first candidates and they're just all off, right? Like we're here not to waste anybody's time. More importantly, the hiring manager and the CEOs that engage with us, and of course the candidates. And so I'm just really, really glad that we did our best. We were still able to submit probably in total almost about 10 additional candidates afterwards, but the whole management and checking in and follow up with the first candidate, and after all that time, he could have started a bunch of interview processes and he didn't. He was still passively looking. He still ended up being excited, ended up just coming back full circle and just making this such a sweet, 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 sweet deal. Not to mention this is a direct placement deal. Closing the candidate at 160 would have been a great fee for us. Closing at 190, $30,000 more, not gonna complain. So huge congrats to the candidate, the client, the team. We made it happen. It's been a busy year so far. If you like these deal stories on what happened, who engaged us, how we broke it down and brought it home, please consider giving us a like, subscribe, click that bell. It means a lot. We'll make more. But thanks again. Excited for everyone. Congrats to the team and the candidate and the client. And we'll see you on the next one.